Hey, so like, just like a quick disclaimer before we get started, because my husband mentioned this to me. This is not like a fully in-depth deep dive into this show. I understand that a lot of people take this show very, very seriously, and I love that for you. I love this show. I think it's great. Me and my husband watched it. It was really good. I have so many favorite moments and scenes and characters. And we're gonna talk about those things, but like I'm not giving you the beat by beat. Like I'm just casually explaining this to you as if you were my best friend who isn't going to watch the show, like my real life best friend. Like she's never going to see the show. So I'm giving you the information you need and like talking about some of the things that I think, and like I might go over some theories at the end, but this is not like the deep dive, let's analyze every scene thing. So like if this is your favorite piece of media and you're super super serious whenever anybody talks about it, this might not be for you. Because like I filmed this around my house doing random shit to keep myself entertained. So, like, don't take it seriously. So there's this guy, right? And his name is Tony Soprano. And he's a capo in the DeMeo crime family, which is like not the boss, but like pretty high up. Like you've had to been there for a while. And he's at this barbecue in his backyard and he passes the fuck out. And it turns out that he had a panic attack, which is an average Tuesday for me, but it's, you know, a new development for him.
At first it felt like ginger ale in my skull.
And so his neighbor, Dr. Cusimano, recommends a psychiatrist, and her name is Melfi. And Tony is in her office at his intake session, I guess you'd call it. And at first he's like being uncooperative and a dick because you know how men are when you ask them to fucking get psychological help for anything.
Whatever happened to Gary Cooper? The strong, silent type. That was an American. He wasn't in touch with his feelings. He just did what he had to do. See, what they didn't know was once they got Gary Cooper in touch with his feelings, that they wouldn't be able to shut him up. And then it's dysfunction this, and dysfunction that, and dysfunction motherfucking.
And he's talking about how real men don't cry to a therapist, which, how much of a real man can you be if you can't communicate your emotions effectively and you let your emotions rule your life?
And you know that's right.
Eventually, though, he does start talking to Melfi because, I mean, she's like the most attractive woman I've ever seen. I don't know, like, who wouldn't talk to her. But he starts talking about a family of ducks that has been living in his pool, problems he's having with his wife, problems he's having with his nephew Christopher, problems his wife and his daughter are having because she's a junior in high school, I think. And he says that he feels like he's at the end of something. And he tells her about this dream where the ducks flew off with his penis. Which, it's a good thing I'm not a psychiatrist because I wouldn't have come to the same conclusion that Melfi did. Melfi says that Tony was projecting his view of his family onto the ducks living in his pool. And when they flew away, he began to have this fear that he was going to lose his family. I mean, it seems like a little bit of a stretch, but like, you're a hot woman in a suit, so I'm going to believe you. We then learn about Tony's mom, who is interesting is the word we're going to use. And she's older, and she's living on her own. And there have just been a lot of incidences where it's probably not safe for her to be living alone. And so Tony is trying to get her into a care facility, which she is not a fan of at all. And we see how much power she has over Tony because they are touring one of these facilities and she starts having a meltdown, which sends him into another panic attack.
I know these women in their wheelchairs babbling like idiots.
You're not listening.
No, Anthony, please. You think you're so high and mighty, don't you? With your fancy office. I know. Anthony, people come here to die.
Dr. Melfi prescribes Tony Prozac, Which, I mean, yeah. And he eventually, after another session, admits to his wife Carmela that he is going to a psychiatrist and that he is on Prozac. Carmela, to his surprise, is very supportive because, like, it's her husband and she doesn't really care. She's kind of just glad that he didn't say, like, I'm cheating on you. I mean, he is. But, you know. Christopher asked to handle a situation that comes up when some Czechs are trying to kind of push their way into the garbage business that Tony and them launder a lot of their money through. And his solution to this problem is not to strike a deal between these families. It's not to talk. It's to take the guy to the little deli type place and shoot him. He recruits Pussy to help him. Now, yes, they call him Pussy. I can't really change that fact. That's how we have to refer to him. Sorry. I don't like it. You don't like it. We don't like it. But that's his name. And it's probably a good thing that he got Pussy involved because this fucking idiot was just going to leave the body somewhere to send a message. And Pussy's like, no, you fucking idiot. Bury the fucking thing. And so they go out and they bury it near the river, which I feel like that's not a good idea to bury bodies near bodies of water. But again, what the fuck do I know? And then Syl, who is my favorite character. So, like, whatever you think, you're not allowed to be mean about Syl. He's like, hey, Tony, do you know a guy named Artie? And Tony's like, yeah, love that guy. Went to school with that guy. Love him so much. And he's like, cool, yeah. You know that restaurant he owns? And Tony's like, yeah, eat there all the time. It's delicious. And he's like, your Uncle Junior is planning to kill a guy there. Just so you know. And Tony's not thrilled about that because Artie is not involved in the life. Like, he knows a lot of people because of where he grew up, but he's not involved. So, like, it's not a good thing to kill somebody in his restaurant. And so Tony's like, that's not good. And he decides that since he can't talk Junior out of it, which he does try, to be fair, he decides to blow the restaurant up. Since this is a family business, Artie is obviously upset about that. And they're at another barbecue in Tony's backyard, and they're talking about it, and Artie is really upset. Christopher is being a little poopy pants because he feels like he's not getting recognition for all his hard work, which is just shooting a guy in the back of the head while he was doing coke. I don't feel like that's hard work. And he tells Tony that he's been asked to write a screenplay about his life as a mafioso. And Tony's like, yeah, don't do that. And it's very strongly implied that don't do that means, like, don't do that. We see Uncle Junior and Olivia, which is Tony's mom, in the car on the way to the cookout that everybody's at. And Junior's like, you know, because of this restaurant thing, you know, if Tony wasn't my nephew, I would have to kill him. And oh my gosh, you know what I might have to do? And Olivia just, like, doesn't say anything. Like, she's not pressed about the fact that her brother-in-law wants to kill her son.
Our friends say to me, Junior, why don't you take a larger hand in things? Something may have to be done, Olivia, about Tony. I don't know.
And that's where the pilot ends. Okay, so we're in episode 2. And Christopher, the nephew, just keep in mind, like, the nephew, not by blood, but, like, by common association, he's the nephew. He's got this fuckhead friend named Brendan. And he and Brendan are, like, robbing these trucks. Now, you're like, okay, well, they're in the mob. What the fuck else are they going to do with their fucking day? But these trucks pay protection money to Junior, the one that wants to kill Tony a little bit. And so he's not very happy when these trucks are getting robbed. And it doesn't just happen one time, it happens like 2 or 3 times. I can't really remember, but it's more than once. And Junior's really mad about it because, like, what the fuck? These people are paying me for protection and my own crime family is fucking me in the ass on that. That's kind of fucked. And so Junior and Tony take the problem to Jackie Aprile, who is the acting boss, because, like, the real boss is in prison. And Jackie's great. We love Jackie, but, like, he's got terminal cancer. Like, he's gonna, like, pretty soon. And coming to him with this nonsense is kind of ridiculous. But they do. And Jackie's like, listen, Tony, just give him his fucking restitution. Don't, like, tell Chris not to do this shit again. Like, it doesn't have to be this big of a deal. And Junior's like, no. And another thing, like, he's letting them do it. He treats his mom bad. And it's just, like, Junior's being a 70-year-old fucking crybaby. Of course, Brendan and Chris do it a fucking again because obviously men are dumb and they don't fucking listen. And Tony's like, what the fuck did I tell you? Like, I told you to stop this shit. Jackie told you to stop this shit. You've paid restitution. Like, what the fuck is actually going on? And they're like, well, I don't know, Tone. Like, I just thought you would like it. Well, the truth about it is that they ran out of money for drugs because they're addicts. And they just wanted more money. And this was something that they knew they could do. So, like, you're really playing around with the wrong fucking people because these people will kill you. Don't let that happen over some fucking heroin. And then what's going on aside from that is that someone stole AJ's science teacher's car. And AJ is Tony's son, Anthony Jr., just in case you were wondering. And so he sends Pussy and Polly Walnuts out to go find it. And they do find it. They find it. And they return it to him, which is very kind of them to do. Thank you, large Italian men, for doing that out of the goodness of your heart.
Whoa, different keys. Probably too much to hope my papers are still inside the trunk here.
It's a different color.
Whoa. Ooh.
My dad's a hero.
Olivia accidentally catches her kitchen on fire because she's on the phone while she's cooking, and she's senile and forgetful, and this really prompts Tony. He's like, listen, you've got to go to one of these retirement communities. And she's like, I'm not fucking going. I'll die. And he's like, okay. And so he hires nurses for her, and that also doesn't go well because she's mean and senile. Like, if you've ever worked with old people, she's the worst one on the unit. The final straw that switches her from having a nurse to going to the retirement home, no ifs, ands, or buts, is because she's driving her friend home. They went, like, out, and she runs her over because she thinks she's going in reverse, but then she goes forward.
Yes.
And, like, listen, if you're old, I love you, but, like, you probably shouldn't be driving. This goes for all old people. Like, I had a grandpa who I loved very much. Rest in peace to my grandpa. But that man could not drive. Every time you got in the car with him, you were gripping for dear life. And my parents put me in the fucking car with this man. The amount of times I almost died, innocent people almost died, he almost died because they let this old ass man drive so he could maintain his pride. Girl, be so fucking for real. Be so fucking for real. Old people can't drive. So he puts her in the retirement home that they toured, that she had the meltdown in, that man had the panic attack in. And after all that is said and done, he's in a session with Dr. Melfi, and she's like, well, Tony, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but, like, you have a lot of anger for your mom, and, you know, this relationship you have with her is toxic. And he's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, I love my mother loves me, like, the woman is a saint, and blah, 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 blah. And Melfi's like, well, why isn't she living with you? And he's like, oh, like, she and my wife would never get along, we could never do that. And Melfi's like, okay, but you've said that you don't have any happy childhood memories. And he's like, well, yeah, like my father and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, like it really is your mother. Every time you come in here, you start talking about your mother. And he storms out because, you know, men, when they're confronted with feelings, don't know how to react. But we learn that she's right, because he goes to the bar or the strip club that they own, and it's called Bada Bing, with nipples on the B on the sign. It always bothers me. And the bartender can't work the phone, and he's kind of mirroring the scene with Olivia when the house catches on fire of not knowing what to do. And Tony beats him with the phone, like really savagely, because he's displacing his anger with his mother and the situation with her on this poor bartender who just like, he must have given that man a fucking concussion. Like, what the fuck?
Hello? Hello?
One of Uncle Junior's employees, associates, whatever, is trying to tell him that he should make an example out of Brendan and Christopher for the whole truck situation. And he is like a little bit psycho. And when he says make an example, he means brutally murder them. And Junior's not really on board right now, and he asked for more time to think about it. While that is going on, Syl approaches Tony about a Jewish man who wants a little help getting rid of his son-in-law because he was apparently abusing his daughter. And on top of that, if they get divorced, he wants a large sum of the hotel that the father-in-law owns. And Hesh, who is a Jewish man and also like one of Tony's associates, is like, this is not a good idea. You really don't want to get involved. Like, just apologize and tell him you can't help him and move on with your day. And Tony's like, no, let's see what we can do. And so Polly and Silvio go and they talk to this son-in-law, and he is not cooperative. He is not aware or really registering the fact that these two Italian men are not suggesting that he fuck off. They're strongly implying that if he doesn't fuck off, refuses to cooperate. And so Syl and Polly decide to kidnap him and torture him to make him do what they're asking. And they can't crack him, so Tony ends up having to come, and he basically threatens to recircumcise this man, as it were, and that eventually gets the guy to be like, okay, I'll leave him alone or whatever. And he goes to collect payment, and the father-in-law is like, LOL, I don't approve of violence, so you're not getting what I promised you, but here's some cash though. And Tony's not happy about that because they agreed on 25% of the business, and now this man is just trying to give him a little bit of money and make it go away. Throughout the episode, Tony is visiting Jackie in the hospital because, again, he has cancer, and Jackie is just getting worse. Like, he's not really responsive. He's not wanting to talk shop. He's kind of out of it, which the man has terminal cancer. Like, what did we expect? Tony is starting to realize that this is the end, and that's really hard for him to accept because he and Jackie are childhood friends. So this is a very, very big emotional thing for Tony to go through. Since Artie's restaurant blew up and he and his wife don't have like a lot of work right now because they have to wait for insurance, they have to do all of this stuff, and you know, they can't cook. Tony and Carmela hire them to cater a charity fundraiser thing they're doing at the house. And Carmela, without even meaning to, but I think that it's great the way that it's done. Offends Charmaine, which is Artie's wife, by using a like a gesture that she uses with her housekeeper, and Charmaine realizes that like no matter what, Carmela is going to see her as the help and not as an equal. She then kind of drops the bomb on Carmela that while her and Tony were on a break back when they were like young, she and Tony slept together, and that despite what Carmela might think, she's happy with Artie and she's happy with the life she chose because, you know, she's not a mob wife.
The woman was too stunned to speak.
Meadow and her friend are also complaining about not having enough time to do all of their homework, their tests, and their extracurriculars to get into college, and so they decide to do meth. I feel like meth is a bit of a leap. I feel like, you know, maybe a little bit of coke. Meth is a fucking choice for your first drug experience, but okay. And so they go get it from Christopher, and at first Christopher was like, no, Tony will have me killed. Can't do that for you. And then she's like, I'll just go to Jefferson Avenue. And he's like, okay, I'll give it to you, but like, don't tell anybody.
I know you and me don't always get along, but I don't think you want to see me dead.
I gotta go, Hunter. You're the best.
Hey, I'm serious.
And like Christopher makes a lot of dumb decisions, but like this could have potentially been like the dumbest decision. Like Tony Soprano would kill you if he ever found out that you gave his child methamphetamines. Junior is talking to Olivia about the Brendan and Christopher situation and how Mikey wants to kill them and he doesn't know what he's going to do yet. And Olivia says that, you know, Tony loves Christopher like a son, and if anything happened to him, it would be so horrible. But that she doesn't know about the Brendan kid, which kind of implies that, like, don't touch Christopher because that'll be really fucking bad, but, like, do whatever you want to Brendan, which, the way he was perving on 2 high school girls, I really can't blame Olivia for that one. And the punishment that Junior doles out is that Christopher is fake kidnapped by these 2 Russian dudes. And at first, Christopher doesn't understand what's happening because he thinks Tony did it because he gave Meadow meth. But the gun is empty and he kind of just shits himself and he's scared. And Mikey goes to Brendan's house and shoots him in the face while he's in the bath. And Junior is very creepily watching from behind the door. Like, I thought, like, capos and bosses, like the higher-ups, weren't supposed to be at crime scenes. That's what the lower people were for. Like, why are you here? And I didn't know this, but my husband pointed it out that this is supposed to mirror a scene in The Godfather because the scenes of violence are intermixed with Meadow singing at her recital. I've never seen The Godfather, but apparently that's the homage. So Tony sees Syl in the medical complex when he's going to one of his psychiatrist appointments, and he starts getting really paranoid that everyone's gonna find out. Because in his world, it would be a really big deal if everyone found out he was going to a psychiatrist, because he could be spilling family secrets. So he hires a cop that he has on payroll, his name is Vin, to follow Dr. Melfi around. Well, Vin is kind of dumb and thinks that Melfi is one of his mistresses. And so when he sees her with another man, he pulls her over, harasses her, and beats up the dude she's on a date with.
You resisting arrest?
Oh, shit. Hey!
Vin, will you fucking do it? Vin!
He can't do that!
Get back in the car.
He didn't do anything
Man.
wrong!
Back in the car now. Come on.
It should be noted that while he is talking to Carmela about all of this, she says that his psychiatrist is male, which means that she does not know that Dr. Melfi is a woman. In other news, AJ is getting into fights with this kid that he's known for a really long time. And they're set to fight, but all of a sudden the kid backs out. And he's really confused as to why, because he was going to fight this kid, And Meadow kind of clues him in that it's not because AJ is intimidating, it's because their dad is. And AJ begins to look up some things to do with their family and their extended family. Tony finds out about Mikey killing Brendan and Christopher being kidnapped. And while he is upset, he doesn't allow Christopher to go and kill Mikey because they know Mikey did it. Instead, Tony confronts Mikey and assaults him, and then goes in to confront Junior about this nonsense.
Look, your suit's wrinkled. Here, let me fix it up for you. Ow! What are you screaming about? Free alterations. Oh!
Now, back to Jackie and his cancer diagnosis. He has not really named an heir for who's going to run the family after he's dead. So Tony and Uncle June are fighting over it because, who doesn't want to be king? And while talking to Dr. Melfi in a session about his mother, she says something along the lines of, sometimes it's best to give the elderly the illusion of control. And he's like, that's actually a really good idea. This is why I pay you the big bucks. And so he concedes his power to June in the event that Jackie dies. Everybody's going to stand behind Junior and everything's going to be okay. If you're a little confused as to why giving him the illusion of control would even matter, well, who are the feds going to investigate if they start taking the family down? It's not going to be people like Christopher or Brendan. It's going to be the boss. They always go after the boss. That's who they want. So letting him have the illusion of control keeps Tony and everybody else safe because they're chasing around Junior. Tony and Meadow are on a little trip, touring some colleges that Meadow is interested in going to. Now, originally, Carmela was supposed to go on this trip, but since she's sick, she stayed home to watch AJ. Now, during this trip, Meadow takes the opportunity while she's alone in a car with her dad to go, hey, are you in the mob?
Are you in the mafia?
Am I in the what?
Whatever you want to call it. Organized crime.
And he is like shocked because apparently he forgets that his children have internet access to watching the news, and, just a general sense of the weird type of security that they have. And he's like, well, no, like the mob doesn't exist. Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, listen, I know about the guns in the house. I know about the money in the house. Like, I know if the FBI shows up to ask for a warrant, like, I have all these uncles that are my uncles. Like, be so fucking for real with me right now. And he's like, well, I know some people in the mob, but like, my money comes from gambling. I'm not involved in any of that. Me when I lie. And after this conversation, they stop at a gas station and he sees this guy that he remembers. And this guy clearly recognizes him because he gets the fuck in his car and bebops out of there with haste. At dinner, Meadow decides to admit that she did meth, which is a crazy thing to admit at dinner to your mob dad. But she refuses to admit who gave it to her. So, that's cool, I guess. And she's like, I just want us to trust each other. But she'll go on for the rest of the series to not trust her dad, argue with him at every point, defy him at every point, and like be a nuisance. So this trust building exercise was really for nothing. While they're doing that, Carmela is sick at home. And her friend, the priest, who we have met a couple times, Father Tintola, comes over. And they're throwing major lust vibes. Like, they are not being appropriate. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that's about. And they get like real sexual with communion, and then they're going into confession. It's just weird to me that these two people of faith, because we know that Carmela is Catholic and obviously a priest is a fucking priest, are even indulging in this. Like, I get it. You can't really help who you're attracted to. And if you're Carmela, your husband is like unattentive and mean, and he's gone and you're sick and you probably haven't had good sex since your fucking son was born. But like, don't sexualize religious workers. Like, that skeeves me out. But eventually he comes to his senses and he leaves. He does spend the night though, which that's weird. I think my priest is cool. Shout out to him, but he's not sleeping in my house, especially if I'm home alone and my husband's gone. I don't even want the implication of that. So Tony can't stop thinking about the guy he saw, the one that he remembered, because this guy had pretty much ratted on everyone and went into witness protection, and he was just very wanted by everyone because, you know, he got people locked up, and that's a big no-no. And so he drops Meadow off at a interview, tour, whatever the fuck she was doing, and shows up at this guy's workplace. He found out where this guy worked because he followed him home and looked him up in the phone book. And so he goes to his office where this man was trying to hire these two crackheads to kill Tony, but they don't agree to it for some reason that I can't remember. Can't really remember. And then he shows up and he strangles the guy. And while he's doing that, a family of ducks is like flying overhead, which, you know, we're back to the fucking ducks. That's exciting. And they head home, and when they get home, Carmela mentions that Dr. Melfi called because she has the flu, and now Carmela knows that Melfi is a woman, and she's not very happy about that because Tony never told her that his psychiatrist was a man. She just assumed that, but also Tony never corrected her. So now she's upset about that. So now that Jackie is dead, Junior is the acting boss, because if you remember, the real boss is in prison. Junior's just kind of like running things from the outside. But like, he's the boss, but he's not the boss, if that makes sense. And he's not doing a very good job. He is not honoring old arrangements. He's taking a lot more from his capos. He's just getting greedy because, I mean, he waited a long time to get to this position, but you can't start making enemies 5 seconds in. Like, that's how you get. And it even goes so far as, like, he's taxing, I don't really know how to explain it, but he's charging Hesh, who is the Jewish guy that we talked about, who was friends with Tony's dad and has known everybody a long time. Like, he's charging him more money. And nobody's a fan of that because Hesh makes a lot of money and he brings a lot of money and advice to this situation. And so, like, making him upset is not good. So, they finally get to a point where they can negotiate and they get Hesh like a lower thing. Like, he pays an amount, but it's not as outrageous as it was going to be. And the interesting thing about it is that Olivia is actually the one that suggests it because she's like subtly like steering Junior where she wants him to go. Tony is having like sex dreams and thoughts about Dr. Melfi, which aren't we all? And he's getting like really confused and upset by that because she's not like the type of woman that he would normally go for. And he eventually confesses to Dr. Melfi. And obviously she's a professional and she's like, no, 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 no. And this scene, this is how chronically online I am. It reminded me of that woman on TikTok who was in love with her psychiatrist. Like, it was like that. He was like, I'm in love with you. Yeah, but Melfi's like, no, thank you. No, thank you. Later on, Carmela expresses like jealousy that Melfi is a woman. She doesn't know about the sex dreams or anything, but she's like, I want to be the woman that you come to for help. Like, I want to be your support. And Tony's like, okay, but like, he's not going to tell her anything because he never tells her anything. And at the end of the episode, when they're like having a little dinner to celebrate Junior becoming the boss, the FBI is there in disguise as waiters, and they are like gathering information. And we see the FBI headquarters where they move Junior up to the boss level, and they don't know that Tony's like the real boss yet. But like, they're the FBI, they're gonna figure it out sooner or later. But what that tells us is that there's already an investigation underway, and that like they're all being watched, and information is coming from somewhere for them to have like where this dinner was taking place and like who was going to be the new boss. So AJ and his friend decide that they're going to steal sacramental wine and get drunk, which isn't the worst thing that they could have done, but like, it's still bad. Please don't touch any sacrament. Don't interfere with literally anything in the church, regardless of how serious or not serious you take any sort of religion. Like, don't touch things that are sacred to other people. My goodness. And they get found out because they're drunk in PE, and the teacher like smells it, and then one of them throws up. And so Tony and Carmela are called in, and they're like, yeah, we gotta punish AJ or whatever, but also like, he needs to be tested for ADD. And Carmela and Tony act like the school just asked them to like test him for AIDS. Like, they freak out so much. And as someone who is diagnosed, whose parents were diagnosed, it's not a big deal. Like, what in the 90s was such a fucking big deal? Like, every time I watch this episode, I laugh because, like, yeah, ADD. If that was the least of AJ Soprano's problems, he'd be having a pretty good fucking life. And, like, they test AJ or whatever, and, like, he doesn't have ADD, apparently, even though he, like, definitely probably does. And so, like, it was a big nothing burger, and nothing else really happens in this episode. That's really the gist of it. So everybody finds out at Larry's daughter's wedding. Larry is a part of the crime families or whatever, that the FBI is building something called a RICO case against them. It's the type of case you build for like an organized type of crime, like the mob or sex trafficking or like this drug trafficking ring. Like, it's just any type of organized crime. You're usually going to have a RICO case when it gets prosecuted. So everybody goes home, and they're like getting all the money and guns and stolen things out of their house so that when the FBI shows up, they won't be able to find any of those things in their house, so they can't connect them to it. He tells Dr. Melfi that he might not be at the next appointment because he might be going on vacation.
Oh, I get it.
And something about Dr. Melfi, her family, she's got an ex-husband and a son, and while they don't know that she's treating Tony Soprano, they have a very strong suspicion that she's treating a criminal. And her ex-husband goes on like this really long tangent about how like movies like The Godfather or like this Italian mob phenomenon has like really made them look bad. But every culture has a mob. Like, there's an Italian mob, there's an Irish mob, there's a Russian mob, there's a Chinese mob. Like, you can have all sorts of mobs. He's kind of like really anal about it, but like it's not like it's just an Italian stereotype. Like it's a pretty big stereotype across a lot of cultures. But this is something that's going to come up again and again and again and again and again. Christopher starts having nightmares about the guy that he killed, the Czech guy, and so he makes somebody help him dig up the body and relocate it, which is really stupid to do. Please never go back to the scene of the crime or like the dump site. That's not criminal advice or anything, but like don't do that. Like never return to the scene. And he also is working on his screenplay, which he shouldn't be because Tony told him to stop that shit. But he's still working on it. And he's becoming depressed because he feels like his life doesn't have meaning. But like, brother, like you're addicted to drugs, you cheat on your hot girlfriend, and you're a criminal. Like you have depression. You need to see a therapist and like stop doing all the things that are ruining your life. AJ accidentally reveals that Tony's going to a psychiatrist to Olivia, who then tells Junior about it, and he is shocked that Tony would go see a psychiatrist, and he also confirms like the fear that Tony has that this is a big deal and this could be something that gets Tony in a lot of trouble. And there's this really like sad but kind of sweet moment where Tony is trying to talk to Christopher about his mental health, and he's trying to be supportive, and Christopher just kind of shoots him down.
Well, I'm just thinking maybe you're depressed.
Me? I'm no fucking mental midget.
It could have been like a really good moment between two characters, but Christopher's a fucking idiot and like he shot it down. So like he keeps complaining that he wants to be closer to Tony and do all these things, but like when Tony actually takes an interest in him, he gets like all defensive and shit. But he gets over it because his name is mentioned in the newspaper as like being connected to the crime family, and so like he feels better, I guess. So Meadow, on top of being in the choir, a straight A student, a volunteer, and a lot more, is also on the soccer team for her high school. And her coach, Dawn, has become pretty well liked by all the dads, like Artie, Tony, and Silvio. And when it's revealed that he is taking a job at another school, they try to intimidate him into staying. And while that's like sweet in like a weird way, it turns out to be the wrong move because it's revealed that he has had an ongoing sexually abusive relationship with Meadow's friend Allie. And Allie tries to take her own life because the coach is leaving and moving on. They are not super thrilled that they were trying to bribe a sexual predator. I don't think anybody would be. And Tony's gonna kill this fucking guy because, you know, he's of the opinion that child predators should, like, expeditiously. And it takes Artie pretty much begging for Tony to be like, okay, we'll just turn him over to the police. And it leads to this scene where Tony comes home drunk and he's on the couch and he's telling Carmela, like, I didn't hurt anybody. And he's kind of like proud of himself because in the past he would have done this like that. Like, you hurt a child, you would die.
I didn't hurt nobody.
The kind of B-plot of this episode is Junior's relationship with this woman named Bobby, and apparently Junior is very good at consuming. Right. But she's not allowed to talk to anybody about it because Apparently that's like a taboo thing. It's like a thing you don't talk about. I don't know why that would be a big deal. But anyway, she tells her hairdresser, and her hairdresser tells somebody else, and somebody else tells Carmela, and Carmela tells Tony, and Junior gets made fun of for it. And this leads to him breaking off this years long relationship with this woman. And it's actually kind of really sad.
What?
Did I tell you to keep your goddamn mouth shut?
No, Corrado, don't hit me!
Tony is trying to make friends with people that are, not affiliated with his job. And so he chooses his neighbor, Dr. Cusimano, who recommended him to Melfi. And at first he thinks everything's going okay, but then he realizes that the people that he's hanging out with are only hanging out with him because they think he's cool, or like the movie stars, like The Godfather or whatever.
Your question. And now, if I'm stepping on toes, tell me, how real was The Godfather?
And so he feels like taken advantage of and kind of like made fun of and kind of like the odd one out. And he tells Dr. Melfi that it feels like this is revenge for like him making fun of other people as a kid, which valid self-reflection. And Tony and Adriana try to get into the music industry. Adriana being a music manager and not being able to like recognize who has talent and who doesn't is going to be a problem. So Pussy and Jimmy are arrested when the FBI shows up at this pool hall, and like Pussy tries to run away, but like the man's built like an F-250, like he's not really getting anywhere, and he gets arrested. But he gets out like suspiciously fast, and the detective that Tony like gets information from, the one that harassed Melfi, tells Tony that Pussy is an informant for the FBI and that he heard it from somebody on the task force. And Tony's like, no. Like, that's my best friend. I love him. He's not a rat. And he's like, listen, dude, it's good information. What you do with it is like your business, but like, he's a rat.
I'm sorry. I know you like him.
Like him? I fucking love him. Now, who's your source?
He's on the force. He's on the task force, all right? Look, he's not lying to me. He was in my wedding.
I want to see the report.
I can't give him my hand.
I want to see the fucking 302.
All right. I'll see what I can do.
And before Vin can do that, he's arrested at a brothel because he's like dating this madam that runs the brothel. I don't know if they were dating. I think they were dating. They seemed like they were dating. And he gets arrested for that, and then he jumps off of a bridge. And so he never gives Tony the proof that it was Pussy. And Vin's death is kind of sad for me because I actually liked him as a character, and I thought that there was more that could have been done with him, but then like he just dies. And I mean, it's really sad. And while Tony is talking to the madam that Vin was dating, he kind of realizes that like he contributed to this man killing himself, and that like they were both depressed, and like he kind of relates to Vin a little bit, but like it's a little too late, like he's already fucking dead. Tony goes to Pussy's house, and Pussy is complaining about like the cost of putting his kids through college and like how hard everything is. And Tony is like, listen, you have options. I want you to talk to me, okay? And he's trying to suss out if Pussy is the rat, but he can't really figure it out. Tony tries to get Polly to see if Pussy is the rat and if he's wearing a wire, and Polly takes him to like a sauna steam room place, and Pussy refuses to take off his clothes and then like leaves, and so they're kind of unsure. And then Tony decides that it's actually Jimmy that's the rat because he came home after getting out of jail and started asking Tony a bunch of weird questions, like he was wearing a wire or some shit. But after that, everybody realizes that like Pussy has disappeared completely, and like no one knows where he is, not even his wife. So like is Pussy the rat or not, or was he like killed by the rat? Junior is going to visit Liv at the nursing home, and he finds out that a bunch of people from the family have been putting their moms here and meeting up here and not telling Junior about it. And he's like, okay, well, I've got to kill Tony now. And Liv again doesn't say anything about it. So like, she's definitely in on that shit.
If this is true, Livia, you know what I mean, I'm the boss, for Christ's sake. If I don't act, blood or no... I have to.
Oh, God, what? What did I say now?
So Dr. Melfi puts Tony on lithium, and he's just kind of in bed, and he looks out his window and he sees this woman in his neighbor's yard, and she's like this really pretty Italian lady, and he goes over to talk to her, and they just start flirting, and he's like insanely like attracted to her, and they're talking about Italy, and he has this daydream of her like breastfeeding a baby named Antonio. She says that she's like there to watch their house while they're out of town, and when they get back, Dr. Cusimano is like, what the fuck are you talking about? No one was in my house. And he calls Melfi, freaking out because he's like, what the fuck? Like, there was this woman and I saw her and nobody else saw her, and I don't understand. And she's like, yeah, you're probably just hallucinating because of the drugs. You probably had a bad reaction. Just stop taking them. Did you not warn him that this might be a side effect? Like, homegirl, you could at least warn a hoe. Like, damn. Meanwhile, Junior is like nervous about the hit he put out on Tony, because like that's a big deal, putting a hit out on your actual nephew. And he hires these two thugs to do it while Tony is at the newsstand, because he goes to the same newsstand every time he has an appointment, and they can't do it because Christopher is following Tony. Because he's like wondering what the fuck Tony's doing, and he pulls up beside them and is kind of blocking him, and so they leave.
Let's do it. Whoa.
Donuts. No wonder he can't lose weight. Where he's going now?
And when they try again, they like walk up on him and they shoot, but it hits like the bottle that he's holding, and it causes him to like get in his car and kind of try to fight them off and like crash his car to like stop them.
Dead now, motherfucker! Oh, shit!
And he's like minorly hurt, but you know, he's really pissed because who the fuck are you and why are you trying to kill me? Christopher, Silvio, and Polly are pretty sure that like it was Junior that tried to do it. Junior and Liv show up to see Tony after he gets out of the hospital because he like hurt his leg and he had like a graze from one of the bullets. And Olivia starts acting like she can't remember anybody or like Meadow. And Junior's like, yeah, that's real fucking convenient that after we failed to kill your son, like now you have memory issues. Oh yeah, that's real fucking convenient, bitch. And he's starting to realize that this bitch is crazy. Like there's crazy and then there's Olivia Soprano, like crazy. And so like now there's this tension between Junior and Tony because like, bitch, he knows you tried to kill him. And you know he knows, he knows. So, like, you better be watching your fucking back. Dr. Melfi and Tony talk about the dream he had of the fake woman breastfeeding the baby named Antonio. And Dr. Melfi says that the dream was his subconscious telling him about his mother. And she says that she thinks that Olivia might have been involved in the unaliving plan. This causes Tony to freak the fuck out and get really like aggressive and in her face. And he leaves and she locks the door behind him and she's like very clearly very afraid of him. The FBI gets Tony to come and meet them, and they play him a recording that they got from the retirement home of Olivia and Junior discussing the hit on Tony, and now he knows that they were both involved and that Dr. Melfi was right and she like straight up did try to kill him. And Artie goes to see Olivia and bring her some food just to be nice because he's nice like that. And Olivia is like, you still talk to Tony even after he burned down your restaurant. Oh my God, you're such a good person. Like, blah, blah, blah. And so now Artie knows that Tony burned down his restaurant. Oh my God, this old lady is so messy.
After what my son did to you, oh, how can I look you in the face?
Tony! What did he do now?
You don't blame him for setting the fire? Well, you're a bigger man than some.
So now that everybody knows that it was Junior and Liv that took the hit out, Tony starts killing people associated with Juniors to kind of prevent another hit being taken out while they figure out what he wants to do. Tony tells Melfi that she should probably get out of town for a while because somebody's trying to kill him, and if they know about her, then they'll try to kill her too. And she's like, oh, no. And he's like, no, for real, like, leave. Like, right now. And then he admits to Paulie and Christopher and Silvio, I think it's Silvio in that scene, that he's going to therapy, and they're pretty chill about it. And Paulie's like, yeah, I went to a therapist once. I had to get some coping skills. And as someone who fucking worked in mental health, like when he said coping skills, I got a little triggered because I had to say that 500 times a day. I'd be in the fucking unit like, okay, you need to use your coping skills. We can't punch other patients, okay? Like, girl, I was triggered. Carmela gets upset because the father that she kind of wants to fuck a little bit is hanging out with other housewives, and like she's not that special anymore, and so she breaks off their friendship and she's like, you're a fucking hypocrite and you're preying on women and blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, girl, you wanted to fuck a priest. And Artie decides not to tell his wife about Tony blowing up the old restaurant because she's so happy in the new place. And he really just doesn't know if Olivia was telling the truth, and like the insurance people might take back the money and then he wouldn't be able to afford his restaurant. And then he hires Adriana, and she looked good in that scene. Like, that dress was popping. Like, I don't even know what we're talking about. Like, Polly and Christopher kill Mikey because Mikey's the one that killed Brendan. He's like the real douchebag guy. And they were gonna kill Junior, but Junior gets arrested by the FBI for some scams that he was running that Tony wasn't involved in. And they try to get him to flip. And they're like, well, if you just admit that Tony's the real boss, you'll get off, but you'll get off with less time. And he gets really offended by that because he's like, no, bitch, I'm the real boss. No, he's not. And so now Junior is in jail, and Tony's like 2 seconds away from strangling his mother. Like, he's got a pillow. This bitch is about to die. But then they tell him that she had a stroke and she like went to the hospital, and then he's kind of like upset about it. That's really all there was to season 1. I feel like not a lot happened, but like a ton of stuff happened. And season 2 is when it kind of pops off more. But yeah, like that's the gist of it, you know? Like, that's season 1.